Hello, and back with some more Bridge Street League news. I'm Jay here with Mike D and Dre here to wrap up last week's events. How you guys been?
Good, man. I'll tell you, this last Friday was. This
Some
is
stuff
like,
went some
oh,
stuff
it
went
went, it,
down.
it went down. Like it was. The hype that's in the league is getting real. Everything's starting to form. Teams are coming together. Competitions there, and upsets are starting to happen. All the narratives that you want in a league. I mean, if you haven't been out to the Bridge Street League yet, I mean, the next following weeks are going to get even better.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go. So
definitely a banger of a week. Um, Looking forward to the action next week for sure.
Mm.
that's what we like to hear. So before we get into some headlines, why don't you guys review a few stats, some stat leaders maybe so far uh, throughout the men's and the women's side.
I'll start with the man leaders when it comes to goals. So Arthur, who we gave a lot of credit to last week, he's still up there. He has 15. He's leading the league in scoring right now, followed by Jair from Calistio
Mm-hmm.
at 13, and then Joseph from the Bridge Street Bangers with 12.
Yeah. So the interesting thing to me there is if you go down the list, Pablo's there and Calistio as well. So, I mean, Arthur's the big story, though. Like, I can't even take away that credit. Arthur being able to put that many goals in his first time in the league, the kid's got a knack. So, playing for City Heat FC, they had an upset against BIH this week. So, we'll see. I mean, again, that's what's making this league so interesting. You finding out who is, there's new players that are surging this year. So let me go into the assists for the men's then. So we have Daniel de Leon from Guatemala. He's got 7 assists, 2 goals. And then you have Gabe from Guatemala, 6 assists. And then you have Cesar Leo with 6 assists from Calestio. And then the fourth is Alan Lemus with Guatemala with 6 assists as well. So that's a testament to Guatemala right there and how they're moving the ball. We talked before about how Guatemala plays. They play very deep. They play the counter, and it's 1-2, but it is nothing short of clinical when they attack. So their passing is bar none right now in the league, and they're leading with the way that they're sharing the rock with 3 of their players being top 5 in assists in the league.
And
Very good.
on the man's side, I think that a common theme is with the scoring and the assists. You got Guatemala and Calestio both sitting at 6-0 right up there. So,
Yeah,
you can see why those stats are translating on the men's side.
that's
All right,
true.
for the ladies' side, we got Candace from Venom FC. She's leading with 5 goals. Ariana from RBD, she's at 4 goals, and then we got Haley from Sugar Rush with 3 goals. Those are your top 3 goals leaders for the women's.
That's interesting that you don't hear more Sugar Rush, right? But that's I'm going to play into that with the assists because if you're looking at the leading assists for the women's, you have uh, America with 4 for Sugar Rush, and then you have Haley with 3 for Sugar Rush, and then you have Emma from Zoo City, who is a name that we should all be remembering. Emma Bolin, okay, she's a great player, feisty. She's got 3 assists, and then Andrea from Sugar Rush also has 3. So you're seeing that sharing the rock. I mean, it's soccer, right? I mean, you have to move. The ball moves quicker than the player. So finding the opening, creating the space, the assist leaders are translating into the most wins. The teams that know how to share the rock.
Yep,
Sure.
and that tends to be the way it goes, isn't it, fellas?
Yeah.
So moving on, we have a few topics to recap throughout the week. Uh, Still sweet, but slightly sour. Sugar Rush survives a week 3 scare. What happened there, fellas?
Dre, you want to take this one or you want me to take it?
I'll go first. So Sugar Rush, we know they came in with leading the league when it comes to wins, but Zoo City they quickly showed that this was going to be a chess match. There was a lot of physicality in the game, whatever some bumping and maybe some unnecessary roughness, but we know
Mm.
that that's how that happens in sports. And we quickly got over there. Mike D had to actually take control of the mic in
Oh,
that
oh.
game because it was heated. So I believe once we see these two teams down a stretch, it's cool to play with some edge, but you got to remember if it's cheap, if it's dirty, that's just things we don't allow at the Rebellion. So we got to just keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's funny, Jay, when you're doing street soccer, right? You don't have, I think, not having the security of a ref. We have judges, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of plays in both ways. One, it makes you more responsible for what's going on. Two, and then it has a little bit of street justice going on. So if you're going to do this, and I allow it, don't call it. You better,
yeah.
right? And so usually that kind of evens out. What I see in soccer, why we took this position of not having refs, is that we felt like when you play street soccer, it's a little bit more honest. Like you feel like it's more about the competition. There's no ref to play.
It's like a pickup basketball game.
Pickup basketball game. So at the end of the day, there's no ref to point to. Well, that's not necessary. There's still something, because now what will happen in a heated game, that emotion of wanting to win so badly kind of clouds some judgment. So you always are going to need someone with a clear head to kind of step in and be like, yo, emotions are high. And, and you're trying to communicate with these players while those things are going on. It's just, it's as red as this shirt. And I get that. That's the nice thing about like us running it, Dre and I and Autumn and everyone, is that we're athletes. We understand it. So we're never going to come and talk at them. It's just, how can we like decompress this situation, right? Before anyone makes a mistake that ruins all of this for everybody. Right. So there's still that accountability.
Yeah.
So, but I do love the passion. Like, it's also an exciting part of the game is that, this league, it is getting to this echelon to where people are really diving in and caring that much. And there's pride into it because reputation has now become on the line. And when we talked about Zoo City, last week, when they had 2 wins, when they had no subs, they're carrying that chip on their shoulder. I mean, we're traveling from Kalamazoo. We're here. And then Sugar Rush is the villain because they haven't not won. They've won 3 titles in a row since we've started. Sugar Rush has been the team.
They're the Golden State Warriors.
You know what? They're the Chicago Bulls at this point. Like, they are.
There you go.
They are. I mean, I'm trying to think of a team that's not liked. New England Patriots, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the comparison is, but you're
on top of the mountain.
They're on top of the mountain, so everyone's trying to find an angle to bring them down to why they're not as good. Oh, they're calling fouls like this. In all honesty, when I watch them play, they are the best team. They have the best caliber, but there is something about them running the table, kind of having that ownership to where they're going to get called out on certain things, like at being, you're not going to get away with what flew before because you are under a microscope now.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, like, when it's a cheap foul or you're calling something foul, like, that's going to be like, oh, you see this? Rather than a team that's losing, that's not going to be as big of a deal.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
you get, and also obviously with some of those references, you got to look at it from Zoo City side of things. They had 2 wins. They're now 4-2 in the league. Yep. So they're not a pushover. They expect to be in the semifinals and the finals when this is all said and done. They showed last week that, hey, it was a nail biter. Like, it came down to literally the final seconds, of the game. So I think that, Sugar Rush understands that. I think they do know that, hey, they're going to be challenged as we get deeper into Bridge Street League. And then again, like Mike said, they got away with one on Friday for sure. I mean, not to say that they're not worthy because they won the game, right? You still got to win the game.
Yeah.
But Zoo City they're for real too. So right now, 6-0, you got to say they're the best team. But the grit that Zoo City played with on Friday, they're challenging them.
And RBDs, they also gave them a little bit of a test. They was a little better with Lauren back in rotation. So, and the other thing we can't miss is Sugar Rush did have 3 games that night, and Zoo City was the last game. And so they were there from 6 to 9 p.m. playing. Yeah. So that mental fatigue is also setting in. So, kudos to Sugar Rush for pulling it off. But I mean, they can hear the Zoo on their heels, I was going to have a better reference than that, but I got nothing.
But you didn't. That's
I did. I got nothing.
From the madness to Muskegon, what's that all about?
So I can start with that one, Dre, and I'll let you clean up here. So Muskegon FC, I've referenced them before. Again, another team that probably travels 45 minutes to come down to the league on the lakeshore. R1s is the takeover tour champions. Now, their team, it is worth noting that their team did not have everyone there. So they were a little bit light when it comes to the talent they have, missing Lito and Sammy, notably their captains of the team. But they have a very strong roster regardless. Anyone that's on R1s, you have to have a certain caliber of play. So it's not like they're playing with sloppy Joes. But Muskegon FC has started to been feeling themselves. I noted it last week, and they were playing in that late game. They're finding their rhythm with players like Coco, with players that know how to play futsal and show up, that are playing in semi-pro, that are playing in Arena League. Game gets chippy. And there was three things that, I mean, there was someone calling on one of the players, because I believe I was over at Zoo City, but apparently one of the players was headbutting R1s. And if we saw anything malice like that person's ejected. Like, you can't have that. But apparently that was happening. So it was getting really heated. But the game was back and forth. Very good game. Muskegon late pulls it off in the shootout and won. And so it kind of blew up. And when the game's all said and done, they're still John. We had to come break it up and calm everyone down. And both players are super respectful, great players, great people. Again, just the passion carrying them farther than it needs to go at the league.
Yeah. I just met myself, I was hoping in another, area, but when we have fans and other players coming to get us, right, to say, hey, you guys got to get over there, that means that it's heated, right? We stop and play because guys are getting nose to nose, right? They're getting upset. And again, like Mike mentioned earlier, we see this in all of pro sports, right? You got to referees got to break it up in the NBA. They say guys always get into it, and for their friends to they hold me back, right? Hold me back. So I don't think things are going to go that way. But guys did apologize to us after everything kind of went down at the end of the game. But we just don't want to have this to talk about when it's time for us to come recap each week, right? We want to talk about how talented the players are, right? And the good games that we watched and the crowd that we had out for Culture Night. Those are the things that we want to reiterate when myself, Mike, and Jay, we get our chance to sit down each week. So let's leave that nonsense off the court, right? Just come bring your game.
Game talk. Yeah.
Celebrate the positives, right?
And so now moving forward past that, I'm glad we said that. I mean, we have to say that, you know what I mean? Like, we have to we love these players, man. Their best interest is our best interest. And so we're saying that from the league point of view, from the players' point of view. Like, a lot of these guys are coaches. Like, they got a big reputation out of there. They're young men that, but we can help. We want to make sure that they're getting the clout that they deserve, not because of stupid reasons, right?
Yeah.
Like, being a man isn't throwing hands. It's diving in for your team and helping your team win. Like, that's
Mike,
yeah.
You got to remember, we got young kids out there as well that's watching, right?
Yeah.
So we got the next generation. They're sitting there watching. Mike and myself, we're having conversations with some kids that actually play for my school and some other teams that's around the area. But these are 14, 15-year-old kids that are coming to celebrate and watch the older guys get after it. So you guys want to make sure that you're, being respectable and responsible for what's to come as well, right? So
right.
Yeah.
just all of those things. I hope those guys really understand who they are in this moment, because you don't want to get kicked out of this league.
Right. Because truly, you're becoming leaders, and you truly are developing fans. So, talking about the game from going back, Jay, just to talk about the game from a tactical perspective, it was evident that it was hard for R1s to find their goal scorer in finding goals, and Muskegon, they found their rhythm and were able to counter. So there was just a little bit of unorganization from R1s that caused them to go into a shootout. Now, I think if R1's fully staffed, I'm not so sure Muskegon pulls off that upset. But at the same time, Muskegon FC, they always are up for the challenge. They'll step into the ring with anybody. So kudos to Muskegon FC for finding that win.
All right. So moving along, one more topic to discuss, kind of along those lines, from pitch to posts.
So this is
social media showdown carried over.
So this was just talking from Hispanic League, right? There was a tackle that got photographed by our lovely Autumn Ackles that got posted where Aaron Gomez was getting slide tackled 2 feet in the air by Mendez. And it kind of Gomez was saying, see, this was a foul, blah, blah, blah. And they started going back and forth and going at each other. But on the court, they handled it respectfully. And this is why they're leaders. This is why we gravitate to these gentlemen and why they're looked at so highly, because of the class and elegance that they showed of being an athlete and letting the game speak for themselves. So This was a great game from start to finish. Before the game was happening, you had people buzzing about this showdown between Mendez and Gomez, but it really was back and forth. I mean, you had Chill FC went down early, but then they came back, tied it up, and then Guatemala finished it late within the game. I think it was a 5-3 or 4-3 finish. But Chill FC is somewhat surprising me this season. They have some extra pieces, and I like the way that they're playing. Chuco is somewhat on a revenge tour. He's the captain of Chill FC. But Guatemala, again, when they are in that defensive stance, in that defensive zone, and they can counter it so clinically, it is almost impossible to break. And we haven't seen them lose yet. So, yeah, they play some great soccer. That Calisteo Guatemala showdown is going to be something else.
Both sitting at 6-0 right now at the top. So, yeah, a lot of things to look forward to in the Bridge Street League moving forward. But, Mendez and Gomez, those guys are, some of the stars of the league. They've been around for a while. So, it wasn't a surprise to us that they handled it like professionals and let the play do the talking on the courts last week.
Shout out to both gentlemen. And I want to make this note, going back again to the assist leaders for the men's. You have Daniel. He's got 7 assists. Gabe Villagomez, 6 assists, 9 goals. Kid's a stud. Okay, number 99. And then you have Alan Lemus with 5 goals and 6 assists. I mean, shout out to Guatemala and everything that they're doing on the court. Watching them play is so techie. At first touch to being able to create space to finishing. It's not just the Mendez brothers out there. That team is stacked.
All right, very good. So as Dre alluded to, looking forward here, the next round of play will be June 13th. You got West Michigan Soccer Community Night. Tell us real quick what's going on, what that theme's all about.
So we are trying to get everyone in the soccer community in West Michigan to come out and show that we truly are about promoting the sport and promoting the players before everything else. It's our way to get out politics and say, listen, we know tryouts are going on. It's an ugly part of the year, but at the end of the day, it's about soccer. And Jay, you and I talked this about on Sunday Night Soccer. So we are trying our best to do our diligence to say, hey, we're here to support you in any way that I can. Teams can come out, promote what they have going on, show their individually, or just come out and just celebrate the game. But we want to have a representation for anyone that's a spectator that doesn't know the soccer community of West Michigan, to have a glimpse of what it truly looks like. So we will have the new pro team coming out. We will have a youth pickup game going on from 5:30 to 6, where they get a t-shirt that says the Mecca, designed by Dre. So just some cool features. And then we'll have prizes, giveaways. Maz Plus by Messi is actually doing a really cool skills challenge that night as well. So just a blast to celebrate soccer and community and doing it the right way. Again, the Front Porch community trying to show everyone that if we collaborate and put players first, good things are going to happen.
All right, very cool. So another week of Bridge Street League soccer news. Thanks for the update, guys, and we'll look forward to June 13th, West Michigan Soccer Community Night.